Hey everyone, I want to talk a little bit about a really, really great night I had at the movies. It was a movie revival. It was a movie theater that was a little theater, independent theater, showing Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein on the big screen. It's not the first time I'd seen Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein on the big screen, and here's the movie here. This is the Blu-ray of it. You have Bud and Lou meeting not only the Frankenstein monster, but Dracula and the Wolfman as well. And yeah, I saw it in the 1990s in Greenwich Village in New York at a theater over there. That theater wasn't quite as big a screen as this one, but it still was a lot of fun. What I remember, this is from the 1990s, but I'll tell you the first one before I get into the story of this new experience. This was in the late 1990s. I want to say 1999 or thereabouts. I don't know. And I remember what I liked about it was, I generally don't like people obviously talking during the movie, but there was a father in 1999 that went to the theater to see the movie with his little boy. And I remember as the scene came near the beginning where Bud and Lou wind up getting into the McDougal House of Horrors, where they're unloading crates, one of them containing Dracula and the other one containing the Frankenstein monster. I remember the boy was getting nervous because that scene in the House of Horrors, museum, is kind of spooky. It's dark, it's candlelit, and it's creepy. And Lugosi is so effective. And he was like, "Oh, I'm scared. I'm afraid." And the father was like, "No, no, don't be afraid. This is funny. It's funny." And he's like, "Oh, I don't know." And when Bela Lugosi came out of his coffin, the kid was like, "No, I'm scared," and I was eating it up. I thought it was so great back then, the fact that even a modern audience of young people could get scared by these monsters. And then I remember the scene came then when Glenn Strange as the monster came alive and busted and broke apart the crate. And then the kid was like, "No, no, I want to go home." And the father was like, "Oh, okay, let's go. Come on." And he dragged the kid out of the theater. He, objectively, he didn't want to, he was objecting to it. He didn't really want to do it, the dad. But anyway, that was the power at the time. It still it retained its power to frighten that scene. But anyway, fast forward to now, last night, 2023. It was a sold out house. It was packed. The theater was packed. Most of the people there, unsurprisingly, were older people around my age and older. And they'd seen this. They grew up with this on television and stuff. And obviously, they were young monster kids who liked the monsters. But there were quite a number of younger people in attendance as well. And I liked that. And I remember that at the beginning, the person who was doing a little talk before the movie started, he had said, "Anybody here for the first time?" And a bunch of people raised their hands. Some of them older people, they never saw this movie. I'm sorry. Anybody ever? Is this the first time seeing the movie? And people raised their hand, and including, of course, youngsters. Now, behind me this time was almost the same scenario. There was a dad, and he had a young girl with him. The girl was very small. I mean, she was just like, she was talking, but you could tell I don't know how old she was, but she was just talking a little bit, little girl. Anyway, and I loved how she laughed at Lou Costello's actions. She was scared at a couple of things. She was like, "Oh no, no, don't," and things like that and stuff. It was so perfect, and not just her, but the audience laughed. The audience probably, 90% of the audience knew the film already very well. And they all laughed in the right spot. They clapped. When the Universal International logo came on, they applauded. And I'd seen this movie. I mean, geez, I've seen this 100 times in my life, at least, one of those movies, forwards and backwards, every dialogue, every frame. And I've never, ever enjoyed this movie ever as much as I did last night in this particular environment. And I got to tell you, folks, there's still people who don't believe that who cares? You don't have to see a movie in a theater. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to have to. I can get up and go to the bathroom whenever I want. I could pause the movie at home. I don't have to worry about this. I can eat whatever I want. Look, movies were made to be seen on the big screen, and this retained its power. And this thing, my girlfriend even said, my girlfriend likes Abbott and Costello. She went with me, and my girlfriend said, I really uh, thought Lou Costello was so funny. Usually, she said, I'm very annoyed by Costello, and I'm kind of annoyed by Costello too. But somehow on that big screen, and same thing with Bela Lugosi. He's like almost kind of Lugosi is almost kind of too much or too big. The way he delivers lines sometimes, But she said on this big screen, that's what they were meant for. Costello, you can really see, she said, like expressions on the face, expressions and things that you might not see on the television set that she missed on the TV set all these years. Folks, there's nothing like seeing a movie on a big screen. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein was a home run. It was great.